Hi guys, sorry. Hi guys, welcome to Ask the Doc. Sorry, I was a little tight on the throat. No, I don't have COVID-19, but I just want to kind of elaborate a little bit on what is going on and the new, essentially, in my opinion, kind of scary findings that we're seeing right now. A study just came out, I think a few days ago, out of Princeton's virology infectious disease lab. And essentially, they isolated COVID 19 and decided how long and what type of surfaces can this virus linger onto. Um, I'll make it short. From the study, what we got, and I'm quoting from the, let's see, NIH Virology Lab in Montana and the Princeton University. Uh, they found that the virus can linger on surfaces for quite a bit of time. And that's scary because if you're not cleaning surfaces, the next person that touches that surface can be infected. So, say the steel of a brace of a subway line. If that steel isn't sanitized, it can be transmitted as a vector, even though there's nobody sick around you. It just lingers on surfaces. So let's jump in. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place, but whatever. Uh, so what they found is okay. So when someone coughs, it essentially becomes aerosol, or it breaks up into a little bit of particles. They say that if someone coughs in a room and they leave the room, essentially the room can still have viral particles lasting up to 3 hours. So that's pretty scary when someone coughs in an elevator and you come in. The aerosol particles in that elevator can still stay active for 3 hours. And I don't know why they tested copper, but apparently the particles can linger on copper surfaces. Thankfully, my office has absolutely no copper, but I don't know where copper would be an isolated, interesting product. But the only thing that's coming up to my mind is, say, copper used in the manufacture of piping. So your plumber uses copper quite heavily. Another big thing that I found very concerning is the 24 hours it can linger on cardboard. So think about all the shipping containers, all the Amazon packages that you get to your house. If someone in the factory were to cough on the box and you get the box from the distribution warehouse, you can have active particles still sitting on the box. So that's pretty scary, because my recommendation probably now is letting your Amazon packages sit outside for at least a day until all the viral particles die off. Uh, Unless you can actually spray it with some antiviral thing or like a Clorox or something. But uh, that's kind of the recommendation I'm going to be doing when I get Amazon packages, or uh, you know deliveries come to the house, is just take the package and just kind of let it sit in the front yard for about a full day before bringing it into the house and exposing everybody to what could have been from the distribution center. Another scary thing is plastics and stainless steel. Apparently, the virus can live quite a long time, about 2 to 3 days. So, if you guys are familiar with the infection, it's called Clostridium difficile. This is a bacterial infection that affects the GI tract, causes massive amount of diarrhea. We use a very rigorous kind of isolation techniques, because it's contact based, and the spores of the C. diff can live for almost like a week or so. And what this virus and what they've tested out of Princeton is quite scary, because I thought it was just initially a aerosol based type of transmission, but what this kind of suggests is that it can also be transmitted by touch, independent of a sick person. So I don't want to kind of scare everybody that's kind of watching this, but it sounds like what we really need to do is invest in some disposable masks, just so that we're not inhaling the aerosol product. But in reality, what we really need to do is invest in probably an N95. So if I put this on, right, as you can see, this is just a standard surgical paper mask. It has a metal clamp, it secures on the top, but if you look at the sides, we still have these kind of big vents. So if someone were to cough, you would still get exposed. So this is really kind of just helping for, say, splashes of things going into your face, and basically kind of serving as you not using your hands to touch your face and getting it into your nose, reinfecting yourself. But a better solution is actually an N95 mask, and N95s are in high demand right now, and it's just stupidity that's going on right now in the world of Amazon that these things are selling for $7,500. So an N95 is, and of course, you know, being in the medical field, we have access to these things. So this is a 3M N95 mask. It looks, you know, foamed in the back. It's got a metal front on the top, and essentially when you put it on, let's see here, 1 second. It's really tight, right? So put the back here, put the front over the top, gives you a good ability to close. But what you can see is there's no air that's getting in onto the sides, no air here, and it's a lot more safer. I don't want to speak with you with this on, but it's a lot more safer, and you can see that I actually shaved down my beard. The more beard hair that you have, the more gaps you have, and I know a lot of people can't get this. The N95s, like even Costco and Lowe's are having a shortage for even their painters and contractors, because, you know, civilians are purchasing these things. But in the meantime, you can at least somewhat protect yourself from people at least coughing in your direction. I like to, you know, the recommendation is to not reuse these, but hey, if there are none in shortage, you don't want to just willy-nilly just throwing these things out. So if it looks clean, I guess you're okay with it. If someone actively coughed on you, get rid of it, try to get a new one. But these things are in massive demand right now. So that's a big concern for me as a medical provider, is that we initially thought this was aerosol only, and it spread that way, but now we're kind of seeing through this Princeton study is that it lingers on surfaces even when the person isn't there. So you know, standard practices are to clean commonly used things, doorknobs, handles, you know, car door entrances, things that people touch all the time. And just be safe out there. If you see someone that's sick or sweating or having labored breathing, be on the suspicion that they might have something. Now, do they have COVID-19? Who knows? And it's really hard to test because even our own hospital is still having some challenges with testing. Results are coming out in, say, 3 to 5 days. But standard pneumonia, a good old bacterial pneumonia, presents exactly the same way. Influenza A and B, which we can be vaccinated for, presents the same way. So the last I heard, it was at 215,000 people have been affected totally. And there's a flattening of the curve, or essentially infectious rate curves, now seen in China. So their aggressive measures is now improved. However, Italy is failing. Their results are now going exponential, and I believe the death toll, sadly, is about 9,000. So be safe out there. If you guys have any questions, text me up. I'll try to give you my perspective from a doc's viewpoint, and be safe. Once again, this is Ask the Doc. I urge you to ask questions, and I can try to demystify anything or any kind of garbage that is on the internet. And I'll make a couple more series videos on this because it's definitely very important at this time, now that the infectious rates are still exponential despite China's measures to essentially flatten the curve. I'll go into more detail on what flattening the curve is and the graph rates later on, but I don't want to belabor this video. So be safe and take care, guys.